Part 5, Object Pronouns.
Any language aficionado, like me, knows that pronouns are an important part of any complete grammar breakfast. They provide 9 essential vitamins and minerals, plus can be used to replace nouns in sentences. And my personal favorite thing about pronouns, they pretty much work the same way in Spanish as they do in English. Plus, they stay crunchy in milk.
In this part, we're going to teach you how to use direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, and objects of the preposition, as well as how they can all work together. But before we show you how to use them in Spanish, let's do a quick review of how they work in English.
Section A. How do pronouns work?
We're going to kick this section off by dissecting a typical, run-of-the-mill, everyday sentence. Claudia throws the ball to the mime.
In English, a direct object is a noun that receives the action of the verb and usually answers the question who or what. Look at the sentence. Claudia throws the ball to the mime. We know that Claudia is our subject. The verb is throws, and the word that's receiving the action, the direct object, is ball. What's being thrown? The ball.
While a direct object answers the question who or what, an indirect object answers the question to or for whom or what. So, in our sentence, the indirect object is the word mime. To whom is the ball being thrown? To the mime. So, in our sentence, Claudia throws the ball to the mime. Claudia is the subject, the ball is the direct object, and the mime is the indirect object. Now, suppose we write, Claudia throws the ball over the fence to the mime. We know Claudia is the subject, the ball is the direct object, and the mime is the indirect object. But what's the fence? Let's see. You may recognize the word over as being a preposition. Generally, in a sentence with a preposition, the noun that comes right after it is called the object of the preposition. Basically, you just take the preposition and make it a question. Over what? Over the fence. See? Fence is the object of the preposition.
Why do you have to learn all this? As we said earlier, subjects, direct objects, indirect objects, and objects of the preposition work the same way in Spanish as they do in English.
Check out the sentence. La doctora pone una inyección a Mario después del examen, which means the doctor gives a shot to Mario after the examination. We can see that our verb is pone, a conjugated form of the verb poner. So we can say that la doctora is the subject since she's the one doing the giving. What's being given? Una inyección. So it must be our direct object. Después de is a preposition that means after. So we can ask after what? After el examen. So we know that's an object of the preposition. And to whom is the shot being given? To Mario. That makes Mario our indirect object. It also makes him nervous.
Just remember, to find the direct object of a sentence, ask who or what is receiving the action. And to find the indirect object, ask to or for whom or what. And when you're dealing with a preposition, use the preposition itself to make a question, and the answer will be an object of the preposition. Let's do one more sentence in Spanish just to make sure you have the hang of it.
La joven ofrece al gato la leche en una vasija.
The young person offers the cat milk in a bowl. Okay, our verb is ofrece, and we know that la joven must be the subject since she's doing the offering. Okay, now what's being offered? Yeah,
La leche.
so that's our direct object. And to what is the milk being offered? There we go,
El gato.
the cat. That makes el gato the indirect object. And hey,
En
is a preposition meaning in, and the milk is being offered in what? In a bowl. So
una vasija.
is an object of the preposition.
Hopefully you're beginning to get comfortable with figuring out the roles all the nouns in a sentence play.
I am.
Good, okay.
And if you're wondering why you need to know all this stuff, wonder no longer. As you probably know from English, wherever you have a noun, you can replace it with a pronoun.
I'm no longer wondering.
Good.
Good.
Imagine what our lives would be like without pronouns.
Stan likes pretty hair. Stan thinks Judy has pretty hair. Stan thinks Stan wants to dance with Judy.
Judy's gonna dance with someone who uses pronouns.
Sounds silly, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly how you're going to sound unless you learn how to use pronouns. Fortunately for Stan and all speakers of English and Spanish, we do have pronouns. As you know, pronouns are used to take the place of nouns in a sentence. That way, you don't have to repeat the same words over and over.
I like your hair. It's nice. You want to dance?
I'd love to.
So, the take-home lesson for pronouns. They replace nouns, they keep you from sounding annoying, and they rock. Let's look at some of the different kinds of pronouns floating around out there.
Section B, the object pronouns.
Pronouns can basically be divided into two broad categories: subject pronouns, which replace the subjects of sentences, and object pronouns, which replace just about everything else.
That's right. Now, we've been using subject pronouns from the get-go, so we know that you know those.
That's why we're going to focus on the three kinds of object pronouns: direct, indirect, and objects of the preposition. What are you doing?
Focusing.
By now, you're probably pretty familiar with the subject pronouns. Yo, tú, usted, él, and ella, nosotros, vosotros, and ustedes, ellos, and ellas. We've been using them all along. Subject pronouns can be used to replace the subject of a sentence.
Pedro cuida el perro a Paula. Él cuida el perro a Paula.
Object pronouns work much the same way. First, let's take a look at direct object pronouns.
Here are our direct object pronouns.
Me, te, lo y la, nos, os, los y las.
There are two things to point out here. Notice that the you formal forms kind of got sucked into the third-person masculine and third-person feminine forms. Also notice how all of a sudden we can use the word it, lo, and los are used to replace masculine nouns, and la and las can be used to replace feminine nouns. Keep that in mind when your noun is an animal or an inanimate object.
And just like we changed Pedro into the subject pronoun él in our sentence, we can change our direct object, in this case, el perro, into its pronoun, which in this case would be the third-person masculine lo.
Pedro cuida el perro a Paula. Pedro lo cuida a Paula.
In the sentence, Pedro lo cuida a Paula, we're basically saying Pedro takes care of it for Paula.
It being the dog, a.k.a. the animal, Paula can't seem to find the precious time to take care of. I mean, when people go out and get pets and they don't have the time to take care of them, nothing...
Annie, it's just an example. Paul is not real. The dog is not real. It's just an example. As we were saying in the sentence, Pedro lo cuida a Paula, notice we put the direct object pronoun right in front of the verb cuida. That's because, well, that's where it goes. When you're using a direct object pronoun with a conjugated verb, the pronoun goes right in front of it.
The direct object pronoun goes before the conjugated verb.
Wait a second. I thought that the word no always comes before the verb if you want to make a sentence negative. Like if we say, Pedro no cuida el perro a Paula. How can I put no and the direct object lo right in front of the verb? They both won't fit.
Good call. The object pronouns always beat out the word no, so they get to be closer to the verb.
So, in the sentence, Pedro no cuida el perro a Paula, when we replace the el perro with lo, we tuck it right in between the no and the cuida. Pedro no lo cuida a Paula.
So, to sum up, the direct object pronoun always beats out the no in the battle over who gets to be closer to the verb.
The direct object of a sentence is the noun that receives the action of the verb and answers the question who or what.
In Spanish, the pronouns me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, and las can be used to replace the direct object in a sentence. Direct object pronouns go immediately in front of the conjugated verb in the sentence.